Canada's hardest prisoners, the untold stories behind Kingston and Millhaven. For more real crime stories, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and let's discuss your thoughts in the comment. It was a crisp autumn morning in Kingston, Ontario, when a violent riot erupted within the walls of the notorious Kingston Penitentiary. The prison, known for housing some of Canada's most dangerous inmates, was on high alert. Inmates clashed ferociously in the yard, the chaos spilling over as staff struggled to maintain order. Guards called for backup, alarms blared, and the tension elevated rapidly. The scene was bewildering. Men fighting, shouting, and some scaling the prison walls desperate for freedom as chaos unfolded. Across the yard, one inmate, who had been serving a lengthy sentence for armed robbery, found himself caught in the melee. As the riot escalated, he collapsed, overcome by a mix of fear and chaos, and was quickly trampled under the frenzy of bodies. This shocking moment was a harbinger of the violence that lay beneath the surface of Kingston Penitentiary, a microcosm of the larger issues within Canada's prison system. As the smoke cleared, whispers circulated about the underlying causes of the riot. How had tensions grown to such a boiling point? What secrets were hidden behind the walls? Myriads of questions filled the air, and the answers were tangled in a history of neglect, corruption, and despair that ran deep within these institutions. To truly understand the significance of that day, we must go back in time and explore the history of Kingston and Millhaven penitentiaries. Kingston, established in 1835, was Canada's oldest continuously operating prison. It had gained notoriety for housing criminals serving the harshest sentences, often overshadowed by tales of riots, escapes, and brutality. Millhaven, just a stone's throw away, was built in the 1970s as a maximum security facility aimed at housing male inmates deemed to be the most dangerous. While it promised strict controls, its early years were marred by violence and gang conflicts that echoed through the institution. Inside these walls, daily life was a mix of strict routines and constant vigilance. Inmates underwent roll calls, meals served in the cafeteria, and periods of lockup, all under the careful watch of corrections officers who navigated a perilous balance between authority and fear. Yet, beneath the surface, the conditions grew harsher. Overcrowding and inadequate resources fed a palpable resentment among the inmates, leading many to question the integrity of their captors and the prison system itself. As we turn our focus to daily life within Kingston, signs of unrest became apparent. The quality of food deteriorated, and inmates complained of foul-smelling meals often described as unfit for human consumption. Frustration grew as double bunking became the norm, and anxiety hung heavy in the air, leading to whispers of impending unrest. A series of incidents led to increased tensions in both facilities. In Kingston, a smuggling ring was uncovered when guards discovered hidden contraband during routine searches. This operation had thrived within the prison walls for months, facilitated by corrupt staff members who turned a blind eye in exchange for cash. In Millhaven, a different struggle unfolded. A notorious gang operating within its confines began asserting control over the yard, leading to a cascade of intimidation tactics aimed at other inmates. Clashes ensued, and soon relationships fractured, spiraling into violence that would draw attention from the media and lawmakers alike. The stage was set for a violent confrontation. Inmates began to organize, fueled by anger at both the prison administration and one another. Reports of the increasing gang affiliation surfaced during inmate interviews, revealing deeper divisions that threatened to spill over into violence. The fear among those without loyalties heightened, and the fragile peace that existed began to crumble, paving the way for the chaos that was to erupt. As the pressure mounted, it became evident that change was critical. During the lead-up to the riot in Kingston, officials attempted to quell dissent by increasing patrols and implementing lockdowns, but this only incited further anger among the inmates. Disturbances became more frequent, and the uncertainty about their futures hung heavily in the air. Amidst this backdrop of fear and conflict, inmate voices began to rise. They sought to band together against the injustices they faced, but factional loyalties made it difficult. Daily life took on a frantic pace as alliances shifted and rivalries splintered. Just as officers began to feel they had stabilized the situation, a pivotal moment occurred, an inmate's desperate attempt to escape during an unguarded moment. This escape attempt unleashed a flurry of reactions across the yard. Guards and inmates alike rushed to respond, but the situation quickly escalated into a full-blown riot, exposing the simmering tensions and frustrations that had long been held in check. In the aftermath of the chaos, the authorities were left reeling. Kingston and Millhaven became front-page news, forcing the government to take a closer look at the failings of their prison system. Investigations commenced, aiming to unravel the layers of corruption and mismanagement that had persisted for too long. Inside Kingston, interviews revealed the stories of inmates long overshadowed by violence. Many spoke of their hopes, dreams, and the circumstances that had led them to incarceration. As cameras captured their raw emotions, a collective plea for change emerged, one that demanded not just better conditions within the walls, but also a reform of the system that produced them. Meanwhile, in Millhaven, a notable focus on mental health and rehabilitation began to take shape. Inmates who had once felt powerless now shared their experiences, multiplying the call for reform. Just when it seemed that progress was imminent, the situation took another turn. Allegations of misconduct among staff and their connections to the gang culture within the prison came to light, igniting a new wave of anger among inmates. In the ensuing months, both facilities grappled with the aftermath of the public outcry. Kingston and Millhaven became battlegrounds, not just for inmates, but for policies that influenced Canada's approach to corrections. Reform seemed possible, yet the outcomes remained uncertain. Both institutions underwent increased scrutiny and surveillance as the government began addressing systemic failures. As discussions centered on redefining the prison landscape, inmates banded together, voicing their collective experiences and their expectations for their futures. With every protest and rally held within the prison walls, a burgeoning solidarity formed, igniting hope among those usually ostracized by society. As new policies took shape, the pressure continued to build. The final cliffhanger reveals an unexpected twist, the discovery of a new faction forming amongst the prisoners, driven by the chaos rather than the hope of reform. Would history repeat itself, or could change truly take root in these storied institutions? The untold stories of Kingston and Millhaven remain etched in the memories of those who experienced them firsthand. With the relentless pursuit of justice at stake, the future was fraught with uncertainty, teetering on the edge of change and violence as both past and present collided within the confines of Canada's hardest prisons.